thank you first and foremost for sitting down with us. This has just been fantastic already today. I want you to take just a second and introduce yourself, and that way everybody watching will know some background.
I'm Leon Davis. I grew up in Elba, Alabama. Was fortunate enough to be able to go to college and went to junior college in Mississippi for a couple of years and transferred to Troy. After graduating from Troy, I served a couple of years in the military, going to Korea. And when I came back, I got into coaching and coached for 7 years in high school. I took a year to go to graduate school at the University of Alabama. In the meantime, I'd got my master's degree at Auburn. Using my GI Bill, I was able to complete a doctoral degree in physical education at the University of Alabama. In 1964, I came to Alabama College in 1963 with the understanding we're going to start a basketball program. Alabama College formerly was a girls' school, all-girls school. It was the state college of liberal arts for young ladies. We started a basketball program at the University at what is now the University of Alabama of Montevallo. After coaching for 5 years with a basketball program, I became director of athletics. Had the tennis team for a couple of years, and then I also had the golf team for about 20 years. After 28 years, I retired at the University of Alabama, Montevallo. I can't believe I've been retired for about 34 years now.
So you've had quite the history when it comes to sports then.
Yep. I was fortunate enough between my junior and senior years at Troy, I learned about what was happening in the Alabama-Florida League, baseball league. And I spent the 1952 season with Dothan, played the entire year at Dothan. And 1953, I started the season in Dothan and ended the season in Graceville, Florida. Thus, I'm being interviewed by a man from Graceville today, and happy to do it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Brings back memories.
Can you tell me what date approximately that you moved from the Dothan team to Graceville?
I can't. I was just looking through some statistics on those years, and I believe it said that I'd appeared in about 28 games at Dothan and about 10 games or so at Graceville that year. I came to Graceville sometime in July, so I was there at the end of the season.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the words Graceville Oilers?
I think the most impressive thing, which really was not really a surprise, but yet the first time I walked down the streets in Graceville, everybody knew I was a new baseball player because Graceville was the smallest town in organized baseball. You felt kind of important because people made you feel that way because everybody in Graceville was really excited about having a baseball team. It's amazing to me when I think back at the crowds of the people. I think many times probably we had a greater attendance at a ball game than we had town population because people came really, really excited about it.
Do you remember how you first found out about the Graceville Oilers?
Well, actually the Graceville team, the team that eventually moved to Graceville, started out the year 1952 in Enterprise. And I guess attendance wasn't good or whatever for some reason. I didn't know why, but sometime after the season started, the team was moved from Enterprise to Graceville. That's the first thing I knew about Graceville and baseball.
How old were you when you joined the Oilers?
I was 22. I'd graduated from college and was waiting to go in the military, really.
And so you didn't actually try out for the team. You were pretty much recruited. Is that correct? After
I was released at Dothan, I went home for probably a month or so, and I decided I'd go back and visit in Dothan. And the manager, I went downtown in the afternoon, and the manager of the Graceville Oilers was Mr. Holt Milner, and he had been my manager at Dothan for the year before. He needed a pitcher. I met him and he said, "I've been trying to get in touch with you all morning. They told me you're in Dothan." And he said, "I need a pitcher." And I said, "You don't need me. I can't get anybody out." And he said, "Well, I think you can." So from Dothan, I went back to Graceville with him, and they were going to play Andalusia that night, which is kind of a natural to go back where I lived in Elba. And so we went by my home, got me some clothes, and I went with them to Andalusia, and I was with the Graceville Oilers the rest of the year.
Did y'all play that night?
Yeah.
Did you win?
I don't remember that. I didn't pitch that night. In the rotation, somebody else's turn to pitch, so I didn't pitch that night. And then we went to Eufaula the next night, and we were supposed to play a doubleheader, and I was going to start the second game, and it rained really hard between games, so we didn't get to play the second game. And I guess the next afternoon we played. Graceville, for some reason, played the games in Bonnefay, some games in Bonnefay. So the next afternoon, we were playing in Bonnefay. The score was, I think we were 1 run behind maybe in the 9th inning, and I was coaching first base. And we scored a run and tied the game. And the manager had pinch hit for a pitcher for the pitcher. And so I came in, I said, who's pitching? And he said, get out there, Dave. So I go out and take a few pitches, and I'm fortunate enough to get Eufaula out, 3 and up, I think 3 and out, and we scored a run, so I got credit for a win. And then a couple of nights later, almost an identical thing happened. I pitched 2 innings, got credit for another win, so my fortunes changed quite drastically when I got to Graceville.
Do you remember your first impressions of Graceville when you arrived?
Well, we'd played in Graceville before I went there to play, and so I kind of knew what to expect, I guess. But it was just another game.
So, what about as a player? Did they treat you different as a player?
I'm not sure. I just graduated from Troy, and I'd been fortunate enough to win an award given to a graduating athlete at Troy, and I remember distinctly being in Graceville right after that. I graduated at Troy, and some people brought that to my attention how great I was, and
Did you get a uniform issued right away?
Oh yeah.
And do you remember what that uniform looked like or felt like?
It was just a baseball uniform.
So what color was it?
It was white with navy blue trim, and I think our caps were trimmed with a white G on the front.
So was there a coach or a teammate that made a big impression on you at that time?
Well, again, I'd played the full year in 1952 for the manager, Holt Milner, and he was kind of a unique individual in that somehow, as a youngster, he'd gotten 2 fingers cut off. I can remember if I won a game, he'd come out and say, come out, way to go, Dave. Say, give me 5. And he'd say, I owe you 2.5.
So what was the crowd like at the ballpark?
There were big crowds, as far as, particularly the fact that it was such a small town, and again, people came, I guess, from all around. And see, this is prior to TV. I mean, a few people might have had TVs during those days, but people didn't have anything to do at night, so that's why lower league baseball really thrived, is because people were finding something to do. And the same thing was true throughout the league. The schedule really was kind of a unique schedule, I guess, in that since the towns were so close together, it was a home-and-home situation. For example, if Graceville played Dothan tonight in Dothan, then the next night Dothan came to Graceville to play. And the same thing was true, like if Dothan played Panama City tonight, then the next night it would be in the other town.
Do you remember traveling with the team very much?
Oh yeah. In fact, we traveled in 2 station wagons at Graceville. And we had we had a player named Chuck Quimby. And Chuck Quimby was a veteran player. A veteran player was a person who had played at least 3 years in professional baseball. And so he must have been close to 40 years old when we were playing with him. And Chuck Quimby drove one of the station wagons, and the manager drove the other one. And we had a group that we called the Big Boys, rode with Chuck Quimby. And if somebody else wanted to ride with us, we'd say, no, you got to ride with the manager. This is for the big boys.
How about hotels, meals? Did y'all ever stay overnight anywhere?
No, it was home and home. And in fact, that's kind of one of the interesting things. When we played away from home, we got a meal money, and we got $1.50. But imagine you normally would eat lunch and then you'd go play, and you might get something to eat before. But you could get 4 hamburgers and a milkshake for $1.50.
So y'all ate pretty good on $1.50 then.
Well, yeah, but it was a matter of eating kind of fast food most times because we didn't have time to stop.
So I know you mentioned Circle Grill earlier in Graceville. Do you remember any of the other restaurants that were in any of the other towns that made an impact?
Not particularly. I had played in Dothan the year before, and there was a place, Oscar's barbecue place, that everybody hung out after the baseball games in Dothan the year before.
Now, you mentioned that somebody in Graceville had a pool hall they kept open for y'all some nights.
There was a pool hall in Graceville, and it was kind of unique, and I don't know how much business they had, but the manager of the pool hall sometime would stay open if we had a game like in Dothan or even Panama City. So we'd get home maybe 11 o'clock at night or something like that. He might stay open and let us play pool for as long as we wanted to, probably giving us something to do and keeping us out of trouble.
How did the town treat the team as a whole?
I think very good. I mentioned we were talking earlier about Mr. Bill Moore, and he was very influential. I'm not sure what his title was with the group, but I think Mr. Cooper I think owned the bank or was president of the bank. One of the things that I do remember at the end of the season, they gave each one of us a real nice bag suitcase, and it was really it wasn't a cheap thing. It was very nice.
Do you remember any other local businesses that were involved?
Not particularly. I know there was a drugstore, and it might have been.
There was Cash Drugstore.
Okay, Cash. I'll bet that's it.
What was the ballpark itself like?
So far as I know, it was fine. I'm not sure the dressing rooms were all up to snuff, but the ballpark, I guess, was in good condition, and I don't remember anybody complaining about it.
Do you remember the grandstands, like how big the stands were or anything like that?
It seems to me that the stands, particularly on the first base side, almost went down to the dressing room, to the clubhouse, and it had to have pretty good stands to hold the crowd that came in.
During your time as an Oiler, did you feel like it was just a summer of baseball, or did you feel like it was part of something bigger?
Well, it was big to me because I never expected to be able to play and get paid for it. We got paid a lot of money, $250 a month, plus meal money. So, and really that, in 1952-53, a college kid couldn't get a job that paid probably any better than that.
Do you have any mementos, a photograph, or anything like that from the actual seasons that you played?
I've got photographs of the team photographs, and on my 90th birthday, one of my nephews and his family gave me a large photograph of myself. Looking back, what do you think people of this generation should know about the Graceville Oilers that maybe they don't? Well, it would be great if people would, and this was true really of a lot of small towns. It had, for example, Headland was a town not much bigger than Graceville, I don't think, that had baseball prior to the team being in Headland and Graceville. And the pride that people showed and the support that they gave was just outstanding, in my opinion. What stands out the most as far as the Oilers go, the team or the town? I guess the team. I grew close to some of the guys on the team in a short time. Did you keep up with any of them after you left the team? Not really. I haven't had much association with anybody on the team. But with the short time you spent there, it would be hard to really, build those relationships. And not long after that, you left Graceville entirely, correct? Oh yeah. Yeah, I finished up the season in 1953, and we were in the playoffs, and I immediately went in the military.
After the Oilers, you played no more baseball. Is that correct?
Well, when I got over to Korea, we were assigned to a company, an infantry company, and for the first 2 or 3 weeks I was over there, we were going up and digging in trenches, and they had concertina wire, and you could see the North Koreans over from where we were. A week or so in, I guess pretty soon after I got into a company, infantry company, the public information officer from the regiment came, asked us to fill out some papers. And one of the questions on the paper was, what was your last civilian job? And so I wrote professional baseball. And the next day he's coming down and wanting me to go play baseball. And it was March, so I was on the team there. And so immediately I started going down, I guess, every afternoon and practicing baseball. And then eventually I got transferred on temporary duty down to the baseball team. The baseball team had a tent. It was out right by the baseball field. And we had not much soldiering going on, and a lot of baseball and a lot of foolishness. And it was kind of interesting that since I was there working in that area, there were some jobs after-hour jobs. So I hooked on one of those jobs. And for the last several months I was in Korea, I worked from 6 to 10 at night and got paid 75 cents an hour, $3 extra a night. I sent that home and had enough money when I got home to buy a 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air automobile. So it paid off.
Thank you so much for sitting down and doing this. This has been absolutely fantastic.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.